Alright, what is up everybody? Today is the big day. Today is a day that I'm going to be revealing my new daily driver. As of right now, I have 2 videos of work that I've already done to it that I'll be releasing after this video, so if you're watching and things are kind of backwards, well, it's because they are. This is going to come out before I do repair videos. I want you guys to see it exactly how I got it, but I also wanted to present it to you guys in a drivable, pretty stable state. I didn't want to reveal it broken and, you know, not running right. Here is my new daily driver. It is a 1992 Dodge Dakota. It's got the 3.9 liter V6 with an automatic transmission. Pretty much same setup as my 96, but being a 92, some little things are a little bit different, like the ECU and a lot of other little things are different. This one does have the, I don't know what they call it, the regular fuel injection with, you know, one injector for each cylinder. Can't think of what that's called, but that's what it says. 92 is the first year to get that. 91 and older Dakotas had the throttle body injection garbage. This one was the first year to receive that, which is nice. If it had been a 91 or older, I wouldn't have been interested in it because I do not want throttle body injection. So it's got the good fuel injection system. It's just older. Yeah, so it is the short cab, short bed. This is a 6.5 foot bed, not the 8 foot like my old one was. And honestly, I kind of like the short bed a little bit more. That was the other drawing feature this truck had, aside from it just being another Dakota and having low miles, which I'll get over in a second. Was the fact that it's the short cab, short bed. So this is the tiny version of the truck, and the very, I guess, the more fun version, and the, I guess you could call it sportier version. If there is a sporty Dakota, this is the body that would fit that description, I guess. So miles wise, the body and all of everything underneath of it, except for the engine, has 173,000 miles on it? Yeah, 173,488. But the engine has 50,000 miles on it. The original owner who bought this truck brand new said put a new engine in it when it had around 120,000 miles for some sort of timing chain related issue, which doesn't surprise me. The timing chain probably snapped and had been a few valves, and they just put a new engine in it. And then after the new engine was put in, the truck had pretty serious wiring issues or serious electrical issues. And then the original owner sold it, and then it ended up getting at one point to the mechanic who I bought it from, who bought it, put a new wiring harness in it, and it worked fine. He put about 50 or so K on it. I think he got it with 120,000 miles on it. So the new engine had been put in. Truck didn't run right after that, so it pretty much didn't get driven until he got it, fixed it, and he put about 50K on it. And then it sat for 4 years. This truck, the registration on the truck that was on it before I got it expired in 2013, and the oil was last changed on this thing February of 2013. The old oil filter had a date on it, and it was February something of 2013. So it sat for basically 4 years. It might have been driven a little bit after that, but yep, 4 years pretty much. Basically, it sat in the back of the shop, and it didn't sit for too long, I suppose, that it really hurt much. But the reason it took so long to show this thing to you guys is I was waiting for a brake line to get done. There were some complications. I was getting it done by a shop, and there were some things that came up for both myself and for the mechanic who was doing it, and it ended up taking a little bit longer than we anticipated to get the brake line done. The brake lines are just one of those things that I hate doing myself. We all have that one thing we really hate doing, and I hate brake lines, so I had a shop do it for me. It was the rear line that runs from this little, I don't know if it's an ABS module up in here somewhere or what it is, but it runs from there all the way to the rear axle. It had a hole in it. It rusted through, and it had no back brakes. I still cannot bleed the back brakes because the bleeders in the rear axle are CEs, and I broke one trying to get it off, so I didn't even try it with the second one. But I flushed the front brakes out, put fluid in, and just from sitting and then being driven a little bit, it's like bled itself just on its own. That or the rear drums have adjusted themselves enough that I've got a pretty firm pedal. I can still tell there's little bubbles in there, but like I can't make the pedal even get close to hitting the floor, and I can, if I have to, I can lock the back tires up. I found that out today because somebody pulled out in front of me, and I slammed the brakes pretty hard. I think this thing has ABS because it felt like ABS was trying to push the pedal back up to me when I did that. But yeah, this is it. Obviously the paint is destroyed on this truck. It's actually not as rusty as it looks. The only rust on it is underneath of the wheel well covers, and this is the better side. And this one's got quite a bit of fender still down here. That isn't actually horrible. The other side's worse. You can see a little bit of it right there. Yeah, this one's pretty far gone, and then hole right here. Not that bad, and there's a little bit down on the rockers. And then, of course, there's a brake line and stuff rusted, but that was probably from it sitting rather than being from salt. The fuel lines look really rusty down there, but they haven't busted, and I don't feel like poking at them to try and figure that out if they are bad. If one of them does spring a leak, I'll smell it pretty fast, and it'll be time to do some like AN lines or something on it. But there isn't that much rust. The frame is very solid. The only rust on the frame that I've been able to find is on the opposite end of this where the thing was sitting. There's a little, it's not even like soft really or eaten away, but I can see it starting to get thin. It's a little bit worse on that side over there because that side probably had a little bit more deterioration from road salt prior to being parked that contributed to that. But the frame is extremely solid. All my floors are pretty good. There's a little rust hole. The cab corners and rockers are not perfect, but this thing has, I mean, you guys have seen some of the cars I've owned. This thing is far cleaner than a lot of the cars I've had. This is far cleaner than the Mustang or the Golf was. And it doesn't have any rust that needs to be fixed. It doesn't have any rust that'll probably need to be fixed for another 5 or 6 years. It's in very good shape. Of course, being a truck, you know, you don't really have to worry so much about frame rails and stuff like that just rusting and falling apart. The inside of the bed is in pretty good shape. There's some scuffs right there, probably just from stuff being slid in and out of it. I did clean this bed a little bit. This was full of dirt, and like, it was a scrap hauler, so it was full of like metals, dirt, and like rust and all kinds of crap. The only rust hole is right there, and my old green truck also had rust forming there. It wasn't a hole, but there was rust there. So I don't know if that's just a common thing. The other wheel well doesn't have it at all, so I'm not sure what the deal is. It's just scratched up, beat up. This truck was used quite a bit. There's a hole over there, but it's not a rust hole. It's just a hole poked in it. But everything's pretty straight. The frame is tweaked slightly on the rear, like this thing might have been hit by something in the back, because the bed sits in here and pokes out on the side over there. And I'm not really sure what happened to it. Somebody probably, maybe they backed it up into something. It's really easy to do on these because if you hit something hard enough with the bumper, it swings the frame over a little bit and then your bed doesn't sit straight. So it's probably only bent a little bit towards the very back. But I'm not even really worried about it. Back bumper is, you know, rusty and bent, tweaked like they all are. I've never seen a Dakota with a straight bumper that wasn't a replacement bumper. But at least this one has the support plate underneath of where the hitch is supposed to go, so you could still put a hitch in that and be safe. And put these LED lights on it. You'll see that in a video later, but they're actually going to be coming back off soon as well. But I'll still put the video up and show you guys those being installed. Got a nice big Shelton tow package down here. No, I don't know who Shelton is. I don't know the brand at all, but very, very sturdy looking package underneath of it, which is nice to already have that on the truck so I don't have to worry about buying one. It also has all the wiring stuff. The lights are currently plugged into it, the tailgate lights, but it's all wired in. It's done right too. It's got the little T-fitting plugs that you plug between your taillight harnesses, so it's not cut and spliced. It's actually done the proper way, which is nice because if I have to replace it or remove it or something, I don't have to like unsplice wires and put them all back together. Oh, let's see, sliding rear window, of course, which is nice, but the handle's broken, so you just have to push the glass instead of having a nice handle. The tailpipe and muffler section of the exhaust is new. The front end is all the old stuff. One interesting thing about these trucks is that the 92 and 91, 92, and maybe 93 have 3-inch exhaust, but you can't get replacement 3-inch exhaust. They only sell aftermarket 2.5 inchers. I'm not sure why. So if I were to replace the Y pipe, I'd be forced to basically get a 2.5 inch, and I don't understand it. It had something to do with emissions, and they had to shrink exhaust pipe, or maybe they did it to cut costs. I don't remember why. I also have the headers on this truck flow better than the later like 94 plus headers do, or 93 plus headers. Even though this being the newer engine, it might have the later style headers on it. I haven't even really looked at it that close to see which headers are on it. Not that it really matters. Inside of the truck, it's almost identical to my old truck. The only difference is I do not have the airbag on the steering wheel. And I mean, that's it actually. That's the only difference. This one has a functioning fuel light as well, which is pretty cool. I mean, that's really it. That's the only thing it's different. This one has cruise, but the cable end is broken for the little controllers, so it's there, but it doesn't do anything because it's not attached to the throttle body. Put this radio in, you'll see that in a later video. It had some Jensen that didn't work, and I had to fix some wiring. It was pretty easy, but I had to do that. Got these cup holders that are sort of useful, sort of not. Back seat. All the spare tire stuff is down there. I got some fuel line antifreeze because I'm trying to do that, plus clean the fuel system out. Got my scraper back there. No latch right here, so you just touch the glass, pull it over. Headliner sagging. Don't know if I'm going to leave it in here or pull it out. Try to get those little screw thumbtack things and pick it back up. I like having it because without it in there, if it's raining or something, it sounds really, really horrible inside. Aftermarket antenna that actually works really well, and when I got the truck, this thing was like dangling, but I fixed that, so this is all taken care of. Had to re-glue the rear view mirror up like I do with every vehicle I buy. The rear view mirror falls off like a week after I get it. I don't understand what it is with me in rear view mirrors, but they always fall off. That mirror over there, the cables are worn out, so I can't adjust it to where it's actually useful, but I've got a solution to that coming soon. I bought a new mirror at the junkyard I'm going to be putting in, which I don't know if I'm going to show that in a video or not. It's not really a big deal, but that will be getting fixed pretty soon. But everything else, like the interior is in great shape. It's not all worn out. It's not all gross. Doesn't smell like cigarettes. Doesn't smell like testicle sweat. Doesn't smell like blunts. Doesn't smell like anything in here. It just smells like it sat for a long time. Kind of like a musty smell to it, but it's not like horrible. And it's been slowly airing out as I drive it. I haven't even put an air freshener in this thing yet, I don't think, which is crazy. But it just had like that old musty car smell that you get from something that's been sitting for a while. Not much to see on the side aside from the lack of paint, the ugly steel wheels. These tires have some age to them. I need to get new ones at some point, but I might put up with these through the rest of the winter because they have some dry rot and they're kind of hard, but they aren't terrible yet. They'll make it at least through the rest of the winter, and then I'll decide if I want to get new wheels to go with tires or if I just want to put new tires on the Steelies. Not really sure. This thing had a cap on it. You'll see that in the next video, and it still has a little rubber thingy glued to the back of the cab from where it's supposed to seal up, and I don't want to pull it off because then I'll have this giant ugly like glued stuff all over everything, and I'd rather just leave that on there because it doesn't look that bad. Gas cap, whatever. Pop the hood. It's got this, I don't know how you manage that unless something got stuck in there and then like crunched the door. I don't understand that. Front fenders aren't actually as rusty as you would expect, which is usually the first thing to go. This one's pretty far gone, but it's not horrible. Like I said, this thing doesn't have that much rust. The only rust it really has is from sitting in the yard for 4 years, not so much road salt. And there is the engine bay. Power steering. I can never get a car with power steering. I honestly don't get it. The steering rack leaks, so the pump ran dry, so the whole system's probably junk. It needs a new rack and a new pump. It's going to need new lines, so I'm going to have to go do all of that at once. That's just my plan, to do pump, rack, lines all at once and get new inner and outer tie rods to go with the rack because they come with it, and then I'll get a full alignment and then have all new steering stuff and be good to go. So I just got a shorter belt, bypassed it. AC is still on it and still works. I tested that because I bought the truck when it was still warm out. Works great. Had to put a new water pump on. You guys will see that. That was the other big thing I needed fixed before I could really drive it. Corner markers busted over here. Go figure. Put some fog lights on it. You'll see those later. And I cut the valence off because it was busted off on both sides. I didn't want it to like fly the rest of the way off and hit somebody. Because with my luck it'll fly off and hit somebody on a motorcycle or something and cause issues. Did a full tune-up, so oil change and new air filter, fresh spark plugs, which were a pain to get out, and I anti-seized the crap out of them when I put them back in. Suspension-wise, the thing handles pretty good. I can tell the struts and springs have age to them, but it's not like crashy or jerky or anything. Cruises down the road pretty good. I don't get a ton of vibration or anything like that. There's a tiny bit, probably just flat spots in the tires from how long they sat, or moisture in them from how long they sat. And there really isn't anything to look at underneath here. Here's the cruise control thing, the cable for it. You guys probably won't be able to see it, but there's this cable right here is for it, and it goes back in there, and the little plastic end is broken off. Got rid of that hose that used to be here because it was all broken off. Had to replace this one right here for the breather because it was missing. New battery. Funny story about this battery. I bought a Walmart Value Start battery, dropped the truck off, and then dropped that battery off a little while after I dropped it off at the shop to get the brake line done. And then the shop owner's son accidentally took my battery, put it in a truck he was selling, sold the truck with my battery in it, but he had bought this battery for the truck that he sold. But that truck was already sold and gone, so I went from, a $50 Value Start junk turd battery from an EverStart Max, really nice top-of-the-line Walmart battery, which is pretty cool. So that's like a $50 to $150 battery jump, which is pretty awesome. And this is still under warranty as well, I believe. I don't know if I'll be able to get it warranted since I'm not the original owner. Got somebody coming in probably wondering what I'm doing. That's pretty much it. So the person's like sitting here creeping on me, so I'm gonna leave because I don't know if I'm like pissing them off or if they think I'm up to no good. But anyway, radio's on. Like I said, that's a new daily I got in it. It fires right up, runs great, drives great, cruises nice. Yeah, now they're gonna leave now that I'm leaving. What a dick. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope you have enjoyed the reveal of my truck, and I hope you enjoyed getting to see me get creeped on by somebody in a Toyota. And that's where I'm gonna leave you guys. Make sure to come back and see the videos where I work on this thing. There's gonna be a video on upgrading the lighting, and then there's gonna be a video on fixing the truck. Those will be the next two coming up. I don't know exactly what order I'm gonna upload those videos in because I got some other stuff for the Eclipse still waiting on, and a couple other things. I've been editing stuff just here and there when I have time because I've been very busy. So I apologize for the gap between videos. There's gonna be like an almost a month gap between like the last video, the live stream I actually uploaded, and when I start uploading some of my backlog. But I've been super busy trying to fix this thing and other stuff. The Mitsubishi's broken, by the way. I'll let you guys in on that later. But like I said, I feel like I'm running on here. Like I said, that's gonna be the end of the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you'd like to see some more, and I will see you guys later.